Hello everybody and welcome to another Nonsense Retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick, and joining me equally as always is Devon.
Oh, I had an impression ready, but I'm not confident in it. Hello guys, this is our first ever retro revisit, kind of.
It is. But before we get into what we're actually talking about, which is today, we're talking about The Simpsons again, we'll do our time-honoured nonsense asinine hypotheticals. And you said you had one for me today?
Yes, this one is hyper relevant.
Okay.
You get to pick any one character from The Simpsons without the surname Simpson or Bouvier to have a dinner with. Who do you pick and why?
Does
not have to be romantic, in case that wasn't obvious.
I want to pick Hank Scorpio's brains on how to be an ethical and lovable villain.
He used a flamethrower on multiple people.
Yeah, but they were his enemies.
I don't think you could be an ethical villain.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a fun guy. He's a fun guy to watch, and
absolutely. And if he likes you enough, he might just give you money for the sake of it.
Yeah, or at least a cushy job.
Yeah, maybe so.
But yeah, my one would be Hank Scorpio. So my one for you is The Simpsons have had a lot of celebrity guest voices. Can you think of someone you would have wanted to have seen at the height of popularity during The Simpsons golden age, either as themselves or as a completely new OC character that comes and goes for that episode?
Here's the problem: is you got to go obscure because a lot of mainstream people just have appeared.
Sure. You can even extend it to ones that have appeared since in shitty episodes in the future that you would have liked to have seen with old school writing.
I don't watch Modern Simpsons, so I don't know who's appeared.
Sure. I know Lady Gaga appeared, and it was one of the worst episodes ever.
Yeah, because it's everything that epitomizes Modern Simpsons being bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, here's the guest character, and that's all the episode's about.
Yeah. Here's the guest character. They're appearing as themselves. There's not even a gag about it. They're just there.
Yeah. I would pick... I want to... H.J. Benjamin.
Okay.
I've forgotten his first name. He voices Archer and Bob from Bob's Burgers.
Ah, yeah.
But him as himself...
I forget what his H is, but I know with the J is John, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's always J in the credits.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd have him voice himself, but I'd have him, but I'd also have himself be played as a 50-50 split between Bob from Bob's Burgers and Sterling Archer, because he's got some kind of issue.
Yep.
Like,
that sounds like a pretty good one.
Like, he's like Moon Knight. He's got three personalities. He's himself, but he's also Archer and Bob because he can't distinguish between each personality being a different person. That sort of thing. Like, Homer bumps into him and he's fucking serving Calculash as Bob, and later on he saves it. I don't know how you'd play it. It'd be stupid and over the top, you know?
Yeah.
But yes, do you want to go ahead and lay down what the basic premise of today's episode is? Because we've already done Simpsons. How can we do it again?
We're doing a bit of a character focus today. We've each picked 3 characters, and we might have to scramble to pick extra ones in case some of us have picked the same ones. And we're just going to chat about those characters, what we like about them, what we hate about them and love to hate, what they do.
Yes, and much like my question I posed, we do have the caveat of they can't have the surname Simpson or Bouvier.
Yeah, so it's not from the main family.
Yes. Also, I think the way this is going to work is Rick will start with with his, then it'll go me, then him, then me, then him, and then we'll finish. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with the number 1 Simpsons guest character, Sideshow Bob.
Okay, Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah. So I think this is the reason that I got really invested in The Simpsons early on. Like, it was funny enough and it was cool enough, but when we got Sideshow Bob, I'm like, okay, you've got actual villains in these episodes now. And then a few months later, they showed one from a further season, which was another Sideshow Bob episode. I was like, okay, cool. I have learned that I love Sideshow Bob episodes.
Yeah, and early days, he used to show up like once a season, so they didn't overuse him.
Yeah, totally. And even now, like, he can show up once every 3 years, and it still feels more frequent than when he was once a year, once every 2 years.
Yeah, but it's really weird now because he fled the country and he has his own family, and now his whole family has sworn revenge on Bart.
Yeah, and there was the one time he got his parents to help Bob fake his death.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that's a more recent one. Bob's parents give him some nitroglycerin to slow down his heart to make it so that it looks like he's died.
This is too high tech for Simpsons.
Yeah, it's stupid. And then he comes back as a zombie, as it were, because he never died at all.
Yeah.
I
mean, I liked one of the early reoccurring parts where he'd already been put in prison multiple times, and one of them was, I think it was the first time he was going for parole, and they were like, what's that you've got tattooed on your chest? It seems to say die, Bart, die. He goes, no, it's German for thee, Bart, thee.
Yep.
And I think, if I recall correctly, the jury just mumbles about amongst themselves, and one of them goes, no one who speaks German could possibly be evil.
Yep. Yeah, that was one of the first. The first three are obviously the first one where he tries to frame Krusty. Mm-hmm. The second one where he marries Selma and tries to kill her for her inheritance.
Yep.
And the third one is that one where he tries to track down Bart to the houseboat that they have. Because they know that...
And at the end, he manages to distract him by saying, "I always wanted to hear the entire works of Gilbert and Sullivan."
Yeah. I'd like you to sing the entire score from the HMS Pinafore.
Yeah, it's like, which is like 8 hours.
Yes, it is.
Well, it is like 8 hours because it lasted all the way till morning.
Yeah, it did.
I am the very model of a modern Major General. I don't know the rest. It's the one that fucking Morden parodies anyway.
And the weird thing is, when Morden parodies it, he lists qualities that he does have that are actually qualities of a scientist Solarian. Whereas the Major General, the whole idea of that is he lists qualities that are in no way relevant to being a Major General.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kelsey Grammer is very good at having threatening voice lines when he very definitely just leans into the microphone and just goes, "Hello, Bart."
Yeah. We definitely brought this up in our last episode involving The Simpsons, where it's a very nice touch that they got the person who plays his brother, Niles, to play his brother in Simpsons.
Yeah, that one particular episode, it just felt like a Frasier episode.
Yeah. And it's weird as well, because that's an episode where Sideshow Bob has had a face turn.
Yeah, he basically has, and he wants to just not be evil in that episode, and it's Cecil that wants to be evil in that episode, and Bob gets arrested anyway. And he just goes back to heel by the next time you see him.
Which I don't blame. If you do everything in your power to be good and you still get punished, why would you not go, well, fuck it, I'm just going to be a piece of shit then?
Yeah, then let me be evil.
Yeah. It's a part of it is because Niles is framing him the entire time. I have to call him Niles. I can't call him Cecil.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to be a clown.
Yeah, that's the thing. So Cecil wanted to be a clown. He has more normal hair than Bob, and he has normal sized feet, whereas Bob has a palm tree of hair and enormous comedic feet. And when things happen to him, he has these instant comedy reactions, which made them hire him immediately to be Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, like, Rake's my arch enemy. And Bart's like, I thought I was your arch enemy. I have multiple enemies, Bart.
I have a life outside of you.
But yeah, I remember there's that one scene, again, I think it's the houseboat episode, where there's a dozen rakes on the floor and he just steps on every one, and every time he does, he just goes, It's a very specific sound that I can't quite emulate.
Yeah, I think it was actually just the
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the perfect blend of intellectual and slapstick comedy as a villain, in my opinion, because most of what he does is semi-believable.
Well, no.
Okay,
early on.
Not anymore.
Early
not
on,
anymore.
Definitely, you're right, but nowadays,
Early on, yeah. You can get someone who's just been released from prison marrying someone and trying to off them for their money very quickly.
Yeah.
And making it look like an accident.
Yeah.
Because he went through a lot of hoops to make it look like an accident there.
Yeah, and you can believe a jury being stupid enough, not quite as stupid as they were in the episode, but, letting someone free who should not be free.
Yeah. And it got a little bit less believable when he belted himself to the underside of the car and followed them to the houseboat.
Yeah, but that was Cape Fear.
Yeah.
So, that was just parodying something. That wasn't, there's a bit of wriggle room when it's clearly a parody.
Yeah. And yeah, obviously it gets more and more deranged as time goes by, but the early ones at least are something that if he wasn't a clown, then he could be quite a chilling villain. And he's still quite a chilling villain because he's a clown, because he's like, the clownish bits of him are just part of his appearance, and he does his best to work around them, as it were.
I mean, one of my favourites as well is when he's still in jail and he's writing the death threat letters to Bart with his own blood, and he faints, and Snake just goes, Sideshow Bob, use a pen.
Use a pen, Sideshow Bob. I do like the one where he's writing out his goal of what he's going to do to Bart when he finds him. He's, find boy in bed and disembowel him. And then he rubs it out and goes, I don't like that bowel in there. Gut him. Which which, I've done a little bit of that recently, of looking at some text and going, that doesn't look quite as good in English. Let's change it to something slightly else. There we are. But yeah, Sideshow Bob overtakes Krusty's show after he frames him. He tries to make it into an intellectual show where he reads to the children and gets them to, provoke a little bit of thought. Still plays Itchy and Scratchy because that's what some kids are there just to watch. And it all falls through when he turns out to have been a massive shitheel. But I think I've talked enough about Sideshow Bob. Who is your first revisit character?
Our favourite bent politician, Mayor Joe Quimby. He'd vote for you.
Oh, that's another Sideshow Bob episode, isn't it?
I can't remember.
He was going up against Sideshow Bob.
It just seems that he's always constantly being up for re-election, even when there's no election going on, so I can't remember. I just remember the headline of, he'd vote for you.
Yeah. Quimby, if you were running for mayor, he'd vote for you.
But yeah, I love Mayor Quimby, because every time he shows up, there's a new scandal.
Can you remember his campaign jingle?
I don't remember the jingle, but I remember the vans going around town just going, vote Quimby.
The campaign jingle was, without a Mayor Quimby, our town would really stink. We wouldn't have a tie yard or a mid-sized roller rink. We wouldn't have our gallows or shiny Bigfoot traps. It's not the mayor's fault that the stadium collapsed. And that's where we get the line of, Quimby, if you were running for mayor, he'd vote for you. Paid for the Mayor Quimby for mayoral committee.
Yeah, fair enough. Again, the thing with the vote Quimby vans is they were everywhere in Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yeah, fair enough.
So whenever you were driving from A to Z, you just pass by random vans and you'd hear, vote Quimby. So it gets really stuck in your head. But yeah, again, the video game as well, right at the beginning, there's the plot is there's a bunch of hidden cameras that have been found, and everyone's accusing Quimby, and he goes, hey, I speak, by the way, he speaks like fucking JFK.
He does.
That's the big tell of his voice. I'm not going to do the impression because I can probably do it for 2 words before it breaking. But yeah, he's like, I think I speak for everyone when I say, where is the sexy footage? As opposed to, hey, stop spying on us, spy man.
Man, I remember the one time when he's he's laying low from the mob, and the way he does is says, oh, I'm spending the night with my wife.
But yeah, there's one later on as well where he's caught with his niece who is scantily clad. It's like, yeah, she's my niece. It's like, oh, I'm not your niece, Mayor Joe. And then I think that happens multiple times, and at one point there's the sudden realization where, oh, this is actually, I am your niece, Uncle Joe. And he's like, what? Super fucked.
He's also the one that paid for Marge's boob job in that one episode.
I don't remember Marge getting a boob job, bro.
Yeah, she got him taken out by the end of the episode because, of course, but he was trying to get an intern upgraded, and Dr. Nick gave it to Marge instead.
Okay. I don't care for that type of humour. It's kind of dumb.
This was during the Dark Age had already started and was well underway by that point.
Yeah, but yeah, I like Mayor Quimby. He's a very good, pick local politician that you know. They're not going to be as crooked as Joe, but
yeah, and he makes a very good duo with Wiggum as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, because Wiggum's inept.
Yeah. He's the one that tells Wiggum to do all the sleaze, and then Wiggum just does whatever he can to the best of his ability, which is limited.
Absolutely. One of the few, I say modern, but the episode's got to be 10 years old by now, but modern episodes of Simpsons is where they go to Ireland, and when the Simpsons get deported at the end, they're like, hey, how come you guys are all so smart? And he said, because we deport all the idiots to America, and for some reason you insist on making them cops. And then in comes Chief Wiggum, who is 1/19 Irish or something stupid.
Yeah. Clancy or Wiggum.
Yeah. But yeah, we could talk about Joe Quimby at length, but essentially the gag is crooked politician through and through. And yeah, who is your second pick?
My next one was going to be Frank Grimes, so we'll go with Frank Grimes.
1 episode wonder, 2 if you count his kid.
Yeah. He shows up a lot in the comics as well, because the comics don't have a lot of inspiration to draw on until there was far too many episodes. But yeah, Frank Grimes was a fantastic 1 episode wonder, as you say. He's Homer's enemy in the episode Homer's Enemy. He can't believe that someone as inept and bumbling as Homer can have everything that he has, even though Frank himself has a comedically tragic backstory. He got deafened by an explosion, had to teach himself to hear again.
Which is not something you can do.
No, it isn't.
But it is a funny throwaway gag.
Yeah. And he tries to get everyone else boss at the plant who has known Homer for longer on his side by just going, look at that idiot, look at what he's doing, be on my side, I'm top bitch now.
To be fair, if this was any world other than the Simpsons world, even in the Simpsons world, he's entirely correct. Homer should not have the job he has. However, he's endearing and you don't fuck over your mates.
Yeah.
Which is something that Grimes can't quite get his head around.
Yeah, because it looks like he's never had friends. That's part of the thing.
I mean, case in point, Homer doesn't try to be friends with Grime, but he is friendly with Grime because he's friendly with everybody.
Yeah, he just assumes that he is friends because everyone else is friendly with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I think they had an episode of Recess that was the same thing, where TJ couldn't understand why he wasn't friends with this one guy.
I don't remember the episode you're on about. However, that does sound like a very Recess episode to do.
Yeah, and the moral of the story in that episode is sometimes people just aren't going to like you. There's nothing you can do about it, and the more you try to do about it, the more you shove yourself in their face.
Every sitcom ever has that episode.
Yeah, but it's a lot more relevant on a kids show where kids need to learn that lesson, you know?
Everybody needs to learn that lesson, and the quicker you learn it, the quicker you become a horrible old bastard. I jest. But funny enough, if we count Grimes Jr. as Grimes as well, you get another Sideshow Bob episode in the mix.
Do you? I forgot about that.
Yeah, the Grimes Jr. episode, because someone's threatening to kill Homer. It turns out to be Grimes Jr., and they bring Sideshow Bob as an expert to try and help thwart the murder.
Yeah, he was a box crook in that episode, wasn't he? Yeah.
And it's one of those where he hangs out with Lenny and Carl says, you see, if I was trying to kill Bart, I'd just run in and gut him. I wouldn't be too fancy. And it's where we get the ending shot of Sideshow Bob going, and now, Bart, I shall kill you. And then he starts singing, I've grown accustomed to your face. Sparing Bart for another day.
Yep. But yeah, Grimes has an ending where he absolutely snaps after Homer wins the power plant design contest for children by taking an existing model of the power plant and putting straws and streamers on it. And Burns thinks this is awesome because he's playing to Burns' ego by saying, yeah, the current power plant is pretty much perfect, and if you wanted to make it look cool, you could add things that look cool, but they don't actually add to any of the functionality. But that's not what Homer thought.
Oh no.
But it's what Burns heard.
It was Homer doing the Homer thing of pulling something out of his arse last minute because he's too lazy to do anything else.
You could indeed say call it pulling a Homer.
Yes. But yeah, Grimes is very interesting because I think this is the very first episode of TV where a character died on screen and didn't come back.
Yeah, especially, definitely in The Simpsons.
I'm just talking ever because I was a young babby.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there would have been things on like that beforehand, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, obviously. I'm just saying this is the first, because I was a kid. You can't watch things over, you watch cartoons, and Simpsons was a cartoon. So I was allowed to watch it, is my point. Power Rangers, the Green Ranger died. Oh, he's back again, don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah, but even then, like, the enemies die.
No,
they're even named and everything.
No, they don't.
Well, the monsters get blown up by a Megazord.
No, they don't.
I mean, they do.
Kid logic, mate. Kid logic means the bad guy has to go away. That doesn't mean you got the concept of... They never say they're dying.
Well, they explode.
Okay, but again, kids don't have a concept of death, motherfucker.
They explode and they don't show up again because they're Monster of the Week.
Do you not understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kids do not have a concept of death. Also, Power Rangers, for me, wasn't until like 99, which was definitely after this.
Yeah, but yeah, they have a funeral for Grimes to make sure that everyone knows that he has died.
Motherfucker, I'm wild up now.
And everyone laughs more at Homer going, Marge changed the channel in his sleep, than, paying respects to Grimes, which is the greatest insult to him.
But at the same time, man, you said it yourself, Grimes just didn't have friends.
Yeah.
Also, though, you got to bear in mind, Grimes and his kid would like to pin the death of Grimes on Homer, but it's not Homer. It was entirely Grimes' own design that killed him.
Yeah. Piss on some wires and then.
Well, he said, I don't need safety gloves because I'm Homer. Sit there. It was really over the top and dumb.
Yeah, he had a full blown meltdown, and it was to his own detriment.
Yeah.
And Grimes Jr. is born because apparently Grimes liked hookers.
Was that actually the story? It might have been.
I think they did. Yeah, he said, "Oh yeah, he liked hookers," and that's basically another posthumous character assassination.
He wasn't. There's nothing wrong with visiting hookers if you're not in a committed relationship. Obviously, there's legal ramifications. However, I'm also in team legalize it because that would solve a lot of problems. problems.
Yeah, you'd be able to unionize.
For one.
Yeah.
I was also going to say mostly, against sexually transmitted diseases, but whatever. Like, it increases the safety of client and clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And also it means you have to invest less police forces in policing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
I think that's about it for Frank Grimes. So who is your number 2?
It's our favourite news anchor, Kent Brockman.
Yeah, Kenny Brocklestein.
Yeah. He's always entertaining, but he'll always be... He's in almost every episode, you know what I mean? Because they're always watching telly at some point, and there's almost always a news report. Like, anything from him constantly ripping the piss out of Arnie Pie in the sky to my absolute goddamn favourite moment, and that's when Homer's gone to space, and we see the camera footage, and it's all aliens, and we zoom in on Kent Brockman, and Kent Brockman's just like, I need to remind you that I am a news anchor, and will be able to easily provide and trick people into working in your sugar mines. So, yeah, I for one, praise our welcome our new alien overlords. Well, yeah, this is clearly what's happened. He was so quick to sell out humanity. Which is really darkly funny, but funny nonetheless.
Yeah. And it's another one is, remember, he also won the lottery.
I do vaguely remember.
Yeah, there was a Lottery Fever episode, and he was reading out the numbers, and he spins on his chair because he's won, and he goes, "Okay, everybody, did you get a shot of me spinning on my chair?" And they do, and they just put up a still from like 7 seconds ago.
Yeah. Go on.
And then next time he shows up, he's like decked out in fur coats and chains and all that, and he says, "I'm not leaving a multi-million-dollar a year job just because I'm now a multi-millionaire."
It's one of those weird things, isn't it? Because, like, why would you play the lottery in the first place?
Well, I mean, greed.
I guess, but I'm not that type of person, Rick.
Sure.
Like, it's
one of those. Like, if there's a chance of getting a mass amount of money for a quid, then why wouldn't you make that gamble? Well, the real reason not to is because you can't afford the quid.
I could probably afford a quid, but I still don't do it.
Yeah. Especially since they made the odds worse in the actual lottery IRL.
Well, if you look at statistics, you're statistically as likely to just find a winning ticket as you are to buy one. Now, that being said, statistics are bullshit, because statistically everyone in the world has one bollock and one boob. But, we know that's not true.
Oh boy, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying it's the go-to explanation of why statistics are bollocks and you shouldn't pay too much attention to them sometimes.
Yeah, I think the idea was back when it was 1 in 14 million, you were more likely to have a plane crash on your head and you survive twice.
Okay.
Yeah, that was how people were trying to skew statistics.
Yeah, it's dumb. Statistics are dumb, and they can be very easily manipulated. What I said is entirely correct. Statistically speaking, every human on the planet has one breast, one bollock. However, using your common sense man brain, by man I mean human, that's false.
And also something that was told to Kent Brockman, you can use statistics to prove anything. 40% of all people know that.
Yeah, Simpsons is dumb. Yeah. But yeah, as I was going to say, there is that episode where Bart becomes the assistant to Krusty, and Krusty is like, I really want a bear claw, so Bart just steals it off Kent Brockman, and he has a full-on meltdown and refuses to tell the news until someone gets him a bear claw.
Yeah. And there's the other one where he hijacks his entire show for an hour and a half to talk about the Lisa Lionheart doll because his daughter has gone bent in the head and just like paddied at him to make him talk about it on the show. I
do remember that. Yeah. Which, I've got to be honest with you, one of the few times we see Kent Brockman with an admirable trait.
Yeah, like loyalty to family, yeah.
Yeah. Although that says he does have that really expensive dog as well that he's had neutered, but wants to partner up with Bart's expensive dog when he has it for about a week, just because, she gets lonely.
Yeah.
But yeah. There's not really much, even though Kent Brockman is in so many episodes, there's really not much to talk about because, it's just funny cutaway, throwaway line gags, but they're almost always great. And again, him getting in verbal arguments on air with Arnie Pie will never not be funny.
Yeah. I think he is actually one of the most viewed characters by screen time that people just never choose to pick, because he appears in so many episodes, just like you say, by some little throwaway, but he is there.
Yeah. There's not much else. There's not much to add. There's that one episode where you got the journalist friend of Marge from college who he doesn't like.
Yeah.
Even though he makes more money than she does because, probably sexism, but whatever.
Yeah, because of the old boys club.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Who is your third and final pick, my friend?
My third and final pick was kind of my 0th pick. I was going to pick Hank Scorpio, but we kind of talked almost enough about him during the hypothetical particles. So I'm going to swerve into Mo.
Sislak?
Yeah, Mo Sislak.
Okay, here's a fun one. Last MCM I went to, there was a guy cosplaying as Mo.
Yeah.
He had the outfit on and he had a latex mask, and he did the most obnoxious thing ever, which I kind of hated.
What, just did the exact voice?
Worse than that, he had a little fucking box that constantly looped sound bites from Mo, and he never turned it off. You could tell where he was near because you could just hear it going on. It never stopped. Now, I'm all for cosplay. That's very fun. And if it was something where he pressed a button and it would say a quote, fair enough, but it was just constantly going, and I cannot get behind that.
I like the one where someone makes a Darth Vader costume and all the buttons on the Vader chest plate are just Vader quotes.
There's a toy that's that.
Yeah. But it's for people, if someone can't do the Darth Vader voice while in the Vader mask, yeah, you just push the button and make the noise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see how that would get really annoying at a con.
Now, you see, if someone dressed as Darth Vader and had a constant leaping... That's fine, because that's quiet and constant, and you can blur it out. But when it's constant quotes, it's a bit different.
Yeah. But yeah, Mo is the backdrop to Homer's third life, if you treat the first life as family and the second life as work.
Yeah.
But really, Homer would treat the second life as Mo's Tavern and the third life as work.
Well, case in point, he gets a phone call from work saying, hey, if you don't come in tomorrow, don't bother coming back all week. And then he went, woohoo!
4-day weekend.
Yeah. Mo's great. We sometimes have Mo-centric episodes, and they're always a bit of fun.
Yeah, Mo's a piece of shit, and it serves greatly to how entertaining he is as a character.
If you want to see how much of he knows he's a piece of shit as well, because there's one episode of the Halloween one where Homer becomes deaf, and Mo is hanging himself mid-hang, and he's got the pizza delivery boy. He gets the pizza delivered, and he goes, "No tips, you're a jerk," and he goes, "Yeah, that's why I'm up here."
Yep. Yeah, one of the other running gags like that is that Mo often tries to kill himself, and they've now bled out from just Treehouse of Horror to like normal episodes. Like he looks at the oven at Christmas and goes, not this year.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yep.
It's one of the bad things that Simpsons does in the casual way they treat suicide. However, at the very least, it's confined to one character, I suppose. Like they do it in Futurama as well with the suicide boost, but it's not quite so casual.
Yeah, well, it's incredibly casual. It shows up in episode 1.
But
there's a line for it.
But you know what I mean, though. It's not something that's just this is, you know?
Yeah, and no one tells someone else, go to the booth.
Yeah. That
would be, a completely different bridge too far,
Yeah, well, the only reason it comes up is because Fry thinks it's a phone booth.
Yeah.
And that's how he meets Bender. If he didn't meet Bender, it's like, let's do a twofer.
Yeah, he puts his quarter in, and then they both get to go, and then Bender gets to keep the quarter as well, because he got it on a string.
Yeah, fucking piece of shit. Now, there are many Mo gags to just point at and laugh at and go, that's funny. But I know what my favourite is, so I've got to ask you, Rick, can you guess what my favourite Mo gag is?
The telephone calls.
No, it's a one-off gag.
Oh, okay. Is it when the FBI come and he's got a panda in the back room and he's like, all right, on delay.
Okay, it's so very close. You nearly got it. Oh,
is it the whale?
It's the whale, yeah, from the X-Files episode where the X-Files people are fucking putting the screws to him, and he just goes, okay, yeah, I got it. And he goes up back, goes, get him out of here! And they're hosing a fucking whale to keep it alive, and the whale's just like,
back to SeaWorld!
It's so fucked up. Yeah.
But my favorite Mo episode is Flaming Mo's.
Absolutely.
Definite golden age one. And the real annoying thing about it was, as a viewer, you knew that Mo was about to split the proceeds with Homer because he had his realization moment of how much of a piece of shit he was being. It was given to him by his girlfriend, who was the waitress, who he was paying minimum wage plus tips.
Dickhead. Yeah, I couldn't remember that fact. Yeah.
But he was open with it. She says, what's it pay? Minimum wage plus tips.
Yeah, fair enough.
She just accepted it. But obviously when it became a phenomenon, plus tips is a lot.
That also being said, minimum wage is actually a lot for a bar worker, because in the States, they don't have to pay you minimum wage if they give you tips.
Oh, yeah. They can count the minimum wage as
$2, because your tips will back up for it.
Yeah, the minimum wage minus tips is what they actually pay you.
You see, that should be illegal. And it is in the UK.
Yeah.
But also in the UK, we don't have a tipping culture.
No, they tried to import it, and it kind of pervades around around central London, where people have more money than sense.
Here's how I tip, right? If I go to a hairdresser's and the hairdresser does not talk to me outside of crucial information, I will tip them. if I go to a restaurant and someone goes the extra mile or is just pleasant, I will tip them. Usually that tip will be, I have a couple of quid in my wallet, here you go.
If there's a service charge, I make a note of the place and don't go there again.
I've never been to a place with a service charge because that's bullshit.
Yes. Like back in the day, there was a service charge for when there's a big old table of like 8+ people.
That kind of makes sense because it's a lot more work for the person serving you.
Not just that, but for the kitchen. Like the idea was it was split between the entire restaurant. So
yeah, but I can guarantee you that's not how it worked.
No, it went to the manager. Is what happened when that happens. When you get something like that, if you pay by card or if it's on the bill or whatever, it's just going to the management.
Yeah, I always
the server.
When I do, on the odd occasion where I do tip in a restaurant, they got the option now to tip via the card machine, and I always ask, if I tip you via this, do you get the tip? And they, 9 times out of 10 they say yes, and I have to just believe them.
Yeah,
because I'm like, okay, because I don't have cash on me. So I can't just give you a physical, who carries cash? I do at conventions, but that's about it.
In fact, I do carry cash right now because I did a taxi ride for someone at the weekend and I got paid for it, and that's the first time I've carried cash since like 2019.
Just give me a fucking sandwich or something.
I mean, it was 1 a.m, so sandwich wasn't an option. But
give me something from your kitchen. Oh Jesus! Another
knife.
Oh, and a knife. Yeah, I'll get all your money now.
Yeah, give me something in your kitchen. A knife.
Or fend off the pigeons. But yeah, one of my favourite side stories I say side stories. Mo is like a big feature of the episode is the boxing one.
Yeah, with Lucius Sweet.
Yeah, I do love the throwaway gag of when I started I was Prince Pretty, and I was I was Prince Handsome, then I was Prince Presentable, then just it was Kid.
And then Kid. Yeah, was it Kid Handsome, Kid Presentable, Kid Gruesome, and then just Kid Mo?
No, I think it was Kid Mo before Kid Gruesome.
No, I think it was Kid Gruesome before Kid Mo.
Maybe. It doesn't really matter, does it? Either way, the reason why he's so ugly is because he got bet the shit out of in the ring, despite the fact in future flashback episodes he's got the same face as a child. Yeah. Well,
they flip flop on it. Like they do that one, and I think he murder one of the Little Rascals,
something like that.
Yeah, because they took his because he was one of the original Little Rascals, and one of the other ones took his gag, so he beat them to death, and they both got fired. And they said, it was okay because that he was an orphan that was owned by the studio.
Too real. But yeah, the Mo's just weird, isn't it? Because he's just a bartender, but he always gets the weirdest fucking shit just thrown in. Do you remember the episode where Apu was super nervous because he needed to do a citizenships test because they were pushing that proposition that meant if you didn't pass this test, you had to get out, and when he went to the test, you had Mo in there, but he had a really shitty mustache attached to his face that kept falling off because he was actually Italian.
Okay. Yeah. So, the two ways to look at that was either he actually was, or he was doing it for someone else for a favor.
Or maybe, but it seemed to imply that it was because even though he'd been here a long enough time to take the test for himself, but just never did it because he didn't need to. Because back in the day, everything was a cash-based business.
Yeah.
Here's a funny one, right? A while ago now, we're talking 8 years when we were buying new beds, my mum actually said to someone, would it be cheaper if I paid in cash? And I just sort of looked away because I knew what the guy was going to say, and it's that doesn't matter. That doesn't make a difference. If anything, most companies prefer you don't pay in cash nowadays.
Yeah, these days. Well, the reason that's even a question is for sole traders who can do a job and not put it through the books.
Yeah, but this was a chain.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the day, if you offered cash now, there and then, some people might have actually considered it because it's I don't have to worry about the bank taking forever transferring the funds. But it's instantaneous nowadays, meaning it doesn't matter.
No.
But yeah, I digress.
But yeah, that was Mo, obviously the bartender, obviously Barney's number one dealer, and when Barney gives up drinking, Mo becomes a coffee dealer.
He has to be, doesn't he?
Yeah. And Barney just drinks a six deck of coffees.
Yeah, man. Speaking of, I did like when Barney had a taste of alcohol-free beer to celebrate being an astronaut, and he just goes, "It begins," and just started drinking everything.
That was alcohol-free champagne.
I was like, just hook it up to my veins.
Yeah, and it's all because of Homer giving him a beer while he was studying when they were kids.
Yeah, addiction's no joke.
No, except on The Simpsons, where it's a joke that's too real.
And it's constantly made.
Yeah, but yep, that's enough from my last one. Who is your final revisit character?
Well, here's a fun one. Seeing as it's the last one, do you want to take a guess?
Smithers.
No.
Okay.
It is everybody's favourite mobster, Fat Tony.
Ah, the original Fat Tony.
Yes, because they changed it where he died and Slim Tony came over and now he's the new Fat Tony because he kept eating American food or something.
Yeah.
It's dumb shit like that people don't like The Simpsons anymore.
Yeah, like the Thin Tony becoming the new Fat Tony is basically the Fat Tony version of the Seymour Skinner thing.
Yeah, and people said that was jumping the shark, even though the episode itself was fine, but the joke was, it was not a good idea.
Yeah, like, the worst part of it is that all the ramifications of that episode are that his mother isn't his mother, and he just lets her abuse him.
It makes no sense. You're absolutely correct. Yeah. And it doubles, even in the episode, it makes no sense, because the moment he's outed, he just starts being a cool dude riding on a motorcycle. This is my real personality. And it's like, nah, it's fucking stupid.
I think the way he leaves is when he's doing a kickflip, he just goes, "Up yours, children."
Yeah. Anyway, that said, as an aside, I do like when they do the Snowball episode replacement. It's like, just to save money and time, I'm going to call you Snowball 2. And Skinner walks past and goes, "Doesn't that just like defeat the point of everything?" And he goes, "Sure, Mr. Anzeria. Moving on."
Yep.
But yeah, Fat Tony is great because whenever he's involved in an episode, it's a mob-themed episode, which means there's real stakes, as it were.
Yeah, I think one of my favourite episodes of all time is a Fat Tony episode, and it's the Homie the Clown one.
Yes, you read my mind.
And it's they bring in a bigger mob boss of Don Vittorio DiMaggio, and he's seeing double here, 4 Krusties.
Yeah, I also like how, wait, I've got an idea, and Krusty fucking swaps him a load of times. He goes, "And now I am confused," and Homer just nudges him and goes, "Good job, Krusty."
Crap.
But even better, this is all over a betting debt, and when they finally do the trick and have to still pay the debt, he goes, "Here's $50. That was it.
Oh, it was less than that. So he gives him back $2 to your change, and we're done. So it was $48.
It's so dumb. Also, it also does let us know that the Springfield rewatch is set in a state where gambling's not allowed.
Yeah, because otherwise that wouldn't even be an issue.
Yep. He's just funny. Like, he's even involved in one of my favourite celebrity episodes, which is the Mark Hamill one.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier as well. Luke be a Jedi tonight. Just be a Jedi tonight. Mark Hamill also did another voice in that episode as well, I believe.
Did he?
Yeah, I can't remember, but
which means it must be lies.
He was called Lee Vell. He's the professional bodyguard trainer that owns the Bodyguard Training Academy.
Really? I thought that was just the guy from the fucking Bodyguard movie. He's got such a deep voice that sounds nothing like Hamill.
Yeah, he's the one that sings "And I Will Always Love You."
That's what I'm saying. It's such a deep voice that does not sound like him.
Yeah, well, Mark Hamill is a pretty good voice actor, as we know.
Yeah, but
he's an absolute chameleon.
Well, no, he's not, though. Every character he voices in the DC universe, he just uses his voice.
Yeah, he uses his voice or the Joker voice.
Which is still just his voice. When you hear the Joker's talk, all you can hear is Mark Hamill. Granted, it's a bit more laughy and giggly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that episode's great. It's filled with Star Wars puns, including Mark Hamill going, "Homer, use the Force, the forks, use the forks."
Yeah.
And then there's the episode where... Oh, it's the same episode. Because it's why he fucking hates Homer and he's bodyguarding Mayor Quimby. Where he gets turned in for milking rats.
Yeah, rat milk.
And he goes,
Everybody loves rats, but no one wants to drink their milk.
And Joe Quimby, when he goes in, "I was promised dog or better."
Yep. And that is also the same episode of "I'm going out with my wife."
Right. Yeah, mob. Yeah. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, mayor to the mob.
It's very funny, isn't it? When you don't even realise how much shit goes on in some episodes. Because that was the beauty of old Simpsons.
Yeah.
More than one thing would happen in an episode.
Yeah, you actually had B-plots that were plots.
But yeah, trying to think. There was a fairly modern episode where he didn't marry one of the Bouviers because they had plastic surgery, but he had that ceremony to say that they're the mistress, which is dumb.
Oh, yeah, there was... I've forgotten the actual technical term for it, but yeah, it's the actual term for a mistress.
It's dumb.
She thought she was a wife.
Yeah, because they were speaking in Italian for the ceremony, specifically to trick her.
And then they meet the actual wife.
Yeah. Again, dumb episode. Dumb.
It's like, the technical term for it's something like googeness or something, but it's not that, obviously.
No, I know. They did say the word in the episode, but I can't remember. It was a dumb episode. I didn't retain much of the information, funny enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there any other Fat Tony moments we can think of? There's a time he makes Bart his bartender.
Yeah, I think that's actually his introduction.
It might be.
Yeah, I think that's his intro episode. Bart becomes his bartender because he can mix drinks really well.
Yeah.
And
they end up going to court and pinning the entire crime family as Bart being the head.
Yeah. And also that when Skinner goes missing because he's trapped under boxes, they pin it on Bart. And while... Oh, no, it's a two-way thing, isn't it? Skinner ends up trapped under boxes after the mob threaten him and tell him not to be so harsh on Bart.
Yeah, they don't even threaten him. They just say, stop doing that, please. They don't, threaten him. They don't threaten with violence or anything. They don't shove him.
Yeah.
I think they literally just slam the door too loud, and that's what makes the boxes all fall over.
Yeah. And yeah, Bart gets... well, even before that, Bart is in detention, and that's why they go around to get him to do that. And when Bart's in detention, one of the other mini-mob guys, I think like Legs or...
Yeah, it was Legs.
Was it Legs? Okay. He makes the bland and flavourless Manhattan, and Fat Tony gets the kiss of death for it.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was good. That was fun.
Man, I just want to say, a lot of the mob jokes are just fucking funny. I like, what's his name? Johnny Tightlips.
Oh, Johnny Tightlips, yeah. I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, he's being stabbed and bleeding out. He just goes, "Who did this to you, Johnny Tightlips?" He just goes, "I didn't see nothing." And Fat Tony's just like, "That's not very helpful."
Well, what do we tell the paramedics? Tell them to go suck a lemon.
It's dumb. Also, again, another great Mo episode when Mo becomes the nanny for Maggie, and he does the fucking impression with the orange, and then the mobsters are doing it outside the house, and that's what makes Maggie follow them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, Marge, do mobsters ever hang out outside your house? He says, yeah, all the time. Sometimes I bring them brownies. Oh, yeah, and when the mob was doing not protection, busting all the fucking fast food places that weren't pretzels. We're Pretzel Town.
Yeah.
And Homer didn't realise that's what he'd hired them to do.
Yeah, the pretzel wagon, that was a reasonably fun Marge episode. Like, we don't get many of them, and that was one of them.
Yeah, because Marge isn't much of a character, unfortunately. Even back in the day, she was just mum.
Yeah, like the episodes where they get her to step out of her comfort zone early on are good, and later on they just feel like pandering. Like the one where she gets into a streetcar named Desire. That was a good one as well.
I don't remember that one.
Well, she's in the play. The director is
Lauren
Sinclair.
Yeah, now I do. Yeah, yep.
And she has to put Maggie into a daycare where they don't believe in dummies.
Yeah, and they do the Great Escape bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do recall. And even very early on as well, when Homer gives her the bowling ball as a present.
Yeah.
Although that one's a bit,
It's a contrived affair that ends up not being an affair. Same as all the times that Homer does the same thing that ends up not being that. Like with Lurleen Lumpkin and Mindy Simmons.
The only one I like Lurleen because, that one's fine. That one's innocent for the most part. I don't like the other one because it's too perfect.
Yeah.
It's clearly genetically engineered to be the perfect temptation for Homer.
Yeah.
Whereas the Lurleen one felt incredibly
organic.
Yeah. I think she's also voiced by Dolly Parton.
Not quite. I think her name is Beverly D'Angelo, but she's basically affecting a Dolly Parton kind of vibe.
Yeah, I just realised she probably wasn't because Dolly Parton does turn up in that Super Bowl episode.
But yeah, when we get more of Lurleen, she's apparently gotten a bunch of ex-husbands by then that all look and act like Homer. So apparently she has a type.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, it's one of those as well where they just completely shit on that character every time she reappears.
Yeah,
which is kind of shitty.
It's just to make Marge into the winner.
Yeah, but you don't need to break other characters to make another character win.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry.
It's okay. You got to do what you got to do. But yeah, winding down's going to be weird today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because in effect, we've talked about all three of our wind down questions with each character.
So, yeah, favourite moments, I think we've touched most of them. Weakest links, weakest links tend to be when a character is used poorly, and we've talked about a few of those. And MVP is normally just the voice actor.
Yeah.
So I guess what we can do, really, is if you liked this episode and want to see more Simpsons-related content, you can look at the previous episode that we did, which was very early on in the Nonsense Retrospective lifespan.
Yeah, it was like episode 5.
Yeah. So, in the absence of our usual wind down, keep yourself safe, keep yourself happy, and if you liked it, give us a comment down below, or via email. Where would the email go to?
Luke, be a Jedi tonight. No, we don't own that. It's nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
And look forward to more of these in the future, most likely, because this was pretty fun.
Oh, yes, we have several retro revisits on the schedule.
Yes, we do. But yeah, it's going to be goodbye from me.
And it's going to be a goodbye from me. And don't forget, vote Quimby.